A scientist was gathering data on an incoming snowstorm when, due to a moment of carelessness, he slipped and fell through a thin layer of ice. Jerry Shepard quickly shouted at him not to move, knowing the slightest motion could break the fragile surface and mean certain death. But the doctor, already in panic, tried to sit up, and the ice cracked beneath him. In seconds, he plunged into the freezing water. Jerry told him to hold onto a floating piece of ice and not to move. Then he raced to his dog sled and chose the bravest of his dogs. With a rope in its mouth, the dog cautiously made its way across the thin ice toward the doctor. Reaching him, the dog looped the rope around the man's neck. The doctor, barely conscious and shivering, wrapped the rope tightly around his body with what little strength he had left. Once the dog returned to Jerry, he ordered all the sled dogs to pull. With incredible teamwork and sheer strength, they managed to drag the doctor out of the icy trap. Though alive, his left leg had been severely injured. And to make things worse, a massive blizzard was closing in. Jerry wasted no time. He wrapped the doctor tightly on the sled to protect him from the cold, secured the sled dogs, and put his full faith in Maya, his lead dog. In such brutal conditions, she was his only hope. At Jerry's command, the dogs surged forward. The snowfall intensified, and freezing winds battered them. Jerry could barely stay upright and collapsed over the sled. Still, the dogs pressed on tirelessly through the storm and finally reached the base camp. Rescue crews rushed in. Jerry, freezing and exhausted, hugged Maya in gratitude. She wagged her tail in response, but the doctor's condition was critical. If not treated immediately, he could lose his leg. Jerry's fingers had also gone numb, blood flow nearly frozen. Time was short. They had to get to the main base, but the rescue plane was too small to carry everyone. They had to leave the dogs behind. Jerry protested, unwilling to abandon his team. But his girlfriend Katie urged him to think of his health first, promising she'd come back for the dogs. With no other choice, Jerry agreed. As they prepared to leave, Max, the lead male dog, broke free and ran to Jerry. He didn't want to be left behind, but Jerry gently fastened his collar again, tightening all the dogs' restraints so they wouldn't run off or get lost. He knelt beside Maya and whispered, "I'll come back for you, I promise." As the plane lifted off, the dogs stared after it. Some barked and jumped, trying to follow, but Maya stayed still, her eyes fixed on the sky, quietly believing that Jerry would return. She didn't know the wait would last 180 days. 2 days later, as Jerry recovered, he rushed to Katie to ask about the dogs, but she said the weather had worsened, and the base commander forbade any return mission. Frustrated, Jerry said, "But you promised me you'd bring them back. That's why I tied them so tight, to keep them safe till we returned." Katie couldn't reply. Jerry went straight to the base commander, pleading to send a plane just for the dogs, but the commander refused. There were still 2 more camps left to evacuate, and government orders were to get everyone out as fast as possible. Jerry begged, "Just give me 1 plane. I'll only bring them back in return," but his plea was ignored.